Hello everyone, welcome to Educational Channel and this is Srinand. So today we are going to learn about World War II and about Nazism and mainly Hitler. Okay, let's fast forward a little bit and then let's go to World War I. World War I, 1914 to 1919, right? 1919, the World War I ended and a famous treaty was signed. That's called the Treaty of Versailles. Versailles is a place in Paris, near to Paris in France. That will be discussed in the French Revolution, right? Now there, the war guilt clause was there in Article 221 of the Versailles Treaty. What did it state? Even though other countries were associated in the World War I and they were the main cause of World War I along with Germany, Germany was the only country to take and incur all the losses, because the remaining countries which fought alongside Germany, they were not countries anymore or they were not empires anymore. They were just occupied by the Allied forces. So Germany was the one and only country, and that was renamed to Weimar Republic. That was called the Weimar Republic. That was like a puppet government set up by the Allies, the US and the UK. But it was not directly controlled by them. You know, the Rhineland, it was called the Rhineland in parts of Germany. That was the fertile lands and the lands with mineral resources like coal, diamonds, right? Those lands were occupied by the Allied forces. Do you know why? Due to the Article 221. Which was the war guilt clause. Because of that, Germany had to pay them. How much? In today's money, it is nearly $270 billion. 270 billion. But in those days, it was just measured in marks, and that was 3 billion marks. 3 billion was way too high, like 270 billion right now. Do you know when was the last payment to the Allied forces was done by Germany? It was 2010. So you can understand from 1945, because this one was including World War II, right? Because 1945 World War II ended, and including that, it took nearly 65 years. Nearly 65 years to pay all of that war guilt clause. Now you can understand how much loss Germany had incurred. So hyperinflation took place. Like if you want to buy a loaf of bread or a full slab of bread, that costed 150 marks. That marks was the currency in Germany at that time. Now due to the hyperinflation, people had to take out cartloads of money. Cartloads. You know, cartloads. Now you can understand. And people were not able to afford bread that was costing nearly 150 million marks. Now you can understand. Hyperinflation, million times, right? It's very tough. And people were frustrated. They were really angry. And there was another person who was frustrated, and he was a World War I soldier. Do you know who was that? Adolf Hitler. You see, Adolf Hitler spent his youth in poverty, fully in poverty, and he was a messenger in World War I and a frontline soldier too. He even earned medals for bravery. So he was a frontline soldier. You know, they might get killed anytime. It's unpredictable. The death in that position is unpredictable. So that's why he earned medals for bravery. And then he joined the SPD, Social Democratic Workers' Party in Weimar Republic after the World War I. And you see, that was also like a puppet government. So he did not like it. He thought, why should we pay to the Allies? Why? Our people are suffering from poverty and hunger. Why should we pay? So he joined that party, as I told you, and then he rose his ranks as the party's leader. You know, when in 1928, when the elections were contested, Nazi party, actually the Social Democratic Workers Party, was slowly changed into Nazi party, right? Because he rose ranks and he wanted to change the name also and the party's ideologies, right? Now in 1928, the Nazi party secured only 2.7% votes, but in 1932, just after 4 years, the Nazi party's percentage in the election was 38%, which was the highest. 38%, because many other parties were there and all of them got below 38%. That's why Nazi party won, as we all know, right? Now, the Nazis had a different ideologies like racial superiority, and the Nazis like Hitler wanted only pure Aryan blooded people. Aryans, they have blue eyes, right? And it was like Varna system, but even more classified and even distinguished between races, and it was even more discriminating. You know, Aryans, blue-eyed Aryans were at the top, like the Varna system triangle, and Jewish people were at the bottom. Jewish people were considered the arch enemies of Aryans, and they were to be hated and killed. You know, after Hitler became the Chancellor of Germany, after President Hindenburg died, he wanted to change all the rules, right? He listed the Nuremberg laws of citizenship that stated for the Jews and the undesirable people, like they were called undesirable because they were physically or mentally unfit and they were belonging to other races. You have no right to live among us as citizens, right? And then 4 years later, he changed it. You have no right to live among us, okay? And then again 4 years later, he changed it into you have no right to live. That is called annihilation, right? The people were sent to concentration camps or gas chambers. People were paraded in, and then the room was closed without any ventilation, and toxic mustard gas, which was used in World War I, was left with Germany, right? That was used to kill the undesirable people. So that was a crime against humanity, right? And now, why did Hitler hate the Jews? You see, it's not something like he had a personal vengeance with the Jews, but he had read books of Herbert Spencer and Charles Darwin, which stated that survival of the fittest is the right thing in the universe itself. Survival of the fittest. That is, according to Hitler, he just changed or altered a few lines in that and added that Aryans are the strongest people. They are the strongest race. Only they deserve to live. And you know, in Czechoslovakia, there was a piece of land called Sudetenland. That was a place, that was a region in Czechoslovakia, and Hitler badly wanted that. Do you know why? Because there were a very high concentration of blue-eyed Nordic German Aryans. So they were Hitler's favorite, right? So he wanted to occupy that land, and he asked Czechoslovakia, okay? And then Czechoslovakia asked Britain to help them in that, and Britain negotiated with Germany, or mainly Neville Chamberlain, the former Prime Minister of UK. He negotiated with Hitler and he told, I don't want any war, we will agree with you and we will give Sudetenland to you. So why did Hitler do this? Because he wanted living space for his desirable people. That is called that living space was called Lebensraum. Okay, even though there were less people, he wanted his people to live peacefully, right? And the houses of Jews and other race peoples were marked by the German or the pure German blooded people on their houses. Their houses were marked by them so that they can call their county inspectors and they can administer them, or they can even take them to concentration camps. But not all Nordic German people were bad. Only a few people who wanted or who were supporting Hitler blindly without thinking about human values. Okay, now how did that 2.7% change into 38%? Let's come to that. This is because of Hitler's hate propaganda speech. Hate propaganda. He spreaded hate amongst everyone against the Jews, mainly the Jews, because he directly killed other people, other undesirable people, but he directly spread hate against the Jews using his propaganda ministry, which was headed by Minister Goebbels. Okay, and these people administered a bunch of people who were called county inspectors, who were roaming around the streets to check and take undesirable people to concentration camps. So this was something really brutal, right? And Hitler wanted a racially pure nation. Yes. And Hitler invaded Poland, Czechoslovakia later, not only Sudetenland, after 2 years of Munich Agreement. What is Munich Agreement? That was the agreement with Hitler and Neville Chamberlain, right? So after 2 years, he broke or violated the Munich Agreement. And then what happened is, he occupied whole Czechoslovakia. And then what he did is, he went to Poland, occupied it, and then he wanted to march towards the neighboring countries, right? So how did he do this in just a short period of time? This is due to his legendary military strategy called Blitzkrieg. What is Blitzkrieg? If we split that word, Blitz means lightning speed. Krieg means lightning speed attack. Krieg means attack, okay? Now what he did is, he gave certain drugs to his soldiers so that they can work day and night, they will not feel any pain, and they will have some kind of confidence boost in their minds, so that they can work day and night and they will not even give the other nations to think about it, what can be done, right? So this was Hitler's main strategy. And you know what happened? He wanted to occupy Finland and Norway. Okay, first he went to Norway and then he started bombing all the places. Now what happened is, Norwegian government went to London and became as a government in refuge. Government in refuge, a whole government. Now you can understand, right? Next what happened is, the Finnish army was fighting with the Soviets and the Hitler's army, right? So when they were fighting with the Soviets, they won. How? Using their snipers. And one of the snipers was White Death. He was called the White Death. Okay? He was a legendary sniper. Without any scope, he used to kill enemies almost 2 kilometers away without using any scope. Just a normal rifle used for hunting animals in the forest. That guy was a legendary guy. And Finland was not occupied by anyone due to its army, the training. And they were not used in barracks, right? They were spread out in a circle and then they attacked. But they did not want to capture any places. Okay? Now, why did Stalin or USSR want to occupy Norway and Finland, or mainly Finland? Because Stalin lived in a city called Stalingrad, and that was just 50 kilometers away from Finland. Just 50 kilometers. So if Hitler occupied that place, he would be really close to Stalin. That's why he wanted to occupy there. So how did Hitler escape the wrath of Soviet Union? He signed a non-aggression pact saying that I won't invade you and please don't invade me. I'll be minding my own business. That was Hitler's words. So that's all for today, and I will convey the next half in the next video. Thank you. Make sure to like and subscribe.